All right, get ready, because today we're going deep into a story of, well, resilience.
Yeah, resilience, unlike anything I've ever seen.
Really.
Yeah.
So we're looking at chapter 22 from this amazing firsthand account.
Okay.
And just think about this. High school senior,
Hmm.
recovering from a serious injury,
Oh, wow.
trying to find their way back into a world that suddenly feels very different.
And what's really interesting here, it's not just the physical recovery, right?
Right.
We're talking emotional healing,
Hmm?
getting back into their social life,
Yeah.
all the awkward moments that come with that.
So imagine this.
Okay.
End of summer, our subject is finally walking again after, gosh, months and months of intense recovery.
Wow.
But they're not exactly strutting their stuff.
Right.
More like baby steps, lots of hesitation.
Hmm.
Oh, and did I mention the custom leg braces?
Yeah, it really gives you a sense of how fragile
Yeah.
this stage of recovery is. You're
Same-
back on their feet, but far from feeling,
Normal.
normal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm. And then there's this detail that just blew me away.
What's that?
They get a standing ovation on their first day back at school.
Oh, the standing
There you
ovation.
go, right?
I hadn't thought about it like that.
It's like everyone's applauding them just for showing up.
Right.
Pretty powerful, but I can only imagine how overwhelming that must felt.
Exactly. And, speaks volumes about how supportive their school community is.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder about the pressure to perform, right?
Right.
To be the inspirational comeback kid when inside they're probably still dealing with so much pain.
Physical and emotional, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So life basically becomes this crazy mix of physical therapy,
Mhm.
scar massages,
Yeah.
trying to keep up with schoolwork, and then, you guessed it, more physical therapy.
Wow.
Even family vacations are planned around this intense routine.
Talk about dedication.
I know, it's incredible.
It really is.
And that brings us to Quentin,
Ah, yes, Quentin.
the dedicated physical therapist who travels with the family.
Now, this is where things get really interesting.
Right.
Quentin's presence is almost like
Like what?
surrogate independence.
Okay.
He enables our subject to function as if they are independent,
Uh-huh.
which obviously helps the family a lot,
Yeah.
but it also raises questions about dependency.
Yeah, it makes you think about Quentin's role in all of this.
It does.
I mean, he's not just the therapist at this point.
No.
He's practically part of the family.
Right.
Sharing meals with them, going on adventures.
I wonder what that does to the family dynamic.
That's a great question.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
Totally.
On the one hand, he's this crucial source of support and stability.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, his constant presence could be preventing our subject from truly becoming autonomous.
Yeah, it's a tough situation with no easy answers.
For sure.
And speaking of tough situations, get this.
Okay.
Our subject is on a flight to Louisiana with their family for a vacation.
Mhm.
And they find themselves sitting next to this stranger who is a little too interested in their injuries and those very obvious leg braces.
It's like that fear we all have,
Of what?
of looking different in public.
Yeah, yeah.
You become this unwilling educator about something so personal.
Yeah, I hate that.
And in this case, the stranger's curiosity is, let's just say, amplified.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
You know this plane guy.
Yeah.
He reminds me of that one uncle we all have.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
The one who overshares at Thanksgiving.
Every family has one.
You're trapped, trying to be polite while inside you're screaming, please just stop asking me questions.
Oh, it's the perfect storm of discomfort.
Right.
You're dealing with all the aftermath of the trauma,
Uh-huh.
and then suddenly you have to manage this stranger's inappropriate questions and assumptions.
That's a lot.
It really is, so it's no wonder our subject feels the need to deflect.
And deflect they do
Oh,
to avoid revealing the truth about their injuries.
okay.
They make up this whole story about a car accident involving their dad, saying he was driving, got thrown from the car,
Oh, my God.
and feels terrible about it.
Wow.
I get the honesty vow later on,
Yeah.
but I'm fascinated by the lie.
Why is that?
Maybe it's not just self-protection.
Hmm.
Maybe it's a way of testing how much sympathy they'll get.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought.
Right.
It could be about control
Yeah,
in a situation where they feel powerless.
exactly.
A way to take back some agency by controlling the story.
Uh-huh.
It also highlights how exhausting it can be to constantly have to explain yourself
Especially when you're still processing the trauma.
and trying to figure out how to navigate the world again.
Exactly.
Really?
But the lying doesn't stop there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Later, a flight attendant asks about their injuries, and they come up with a completely different story.
What do they say this time?
This time they say they fell out of a tree and broke their feet.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's almost comical.
It is.
But it really underscores the emotional exhaustion that comes with these encounters.
Yeah.
Imagine feeling like you have to constantly perform,
Mm.
invent believable explanations just to avoid more scrutiny.
It's no wonder they decide to be radically honest from that point on.
That declaration of honesty,
Yeah.
it's not just about telling the truth.
What is it about then?
It feels like taking ownership of their story,
Okay.
refusing to let other people dictate how they explain their experience.
Absolutely. It's like a declaration of self-respect,
Yeah.
a commitment to being authentic,
Even when it's uncomfortable.
even when it's uncomfortable. Exactly.
So the family finally arrives in Louisiana,
Okay.
but even with the change of scenery, that recovery grind keeps going.
Ugh. Yeah.
Physical therapy,
Mm.
bandage changes, scar massages.
Right.
It's a constant reminder that this isn't some feel-good comeback story.
Yeah.
It's gritty, it's real, and it shows that healing takes...
Time, dedication, a whole lot of patience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just the physical healing either, right?
Right.
It's about rebuilding your life.
Yeah.
Bit by bit, finding a new normal and learning to thrive in it.
Finding the new normal is so important.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they have to relearn what it means to be a person.
Hmm.
All those interactions that used to be automatic
Mm-hmm.
now take conscious effort.
Yeah.
And that can be really draining.
It makes you realize just how much of an emotional toll this kind of recovery takes.
For sure.
It's not just about getting your body working again. It's
Yeah.
about figuring out how to be in the world again
Exactly.
in a way that feels safe and real.
And that brings us to a really fascinating part of the chapter
Oh, yeah.
where our subject talks about being raised to care deeply.
Okay.
They even mention the Care Bears.
The Care Bears.
Yeah, like they represent this innate desire to connect with others.
Right. But after the trauma, there's this sense of...
Guardedness.
Yeah.
Like they've built up this wall around their heart
Mm.
to protect themselves from getting hurt again.
But that makes it even harder to tell the difference between real empathy and just nosiness.
Exactly. And that plane encounter is a perfect example of that.
Right.
That stranger's constant questioning.
Ugh, fueled by alcohol.
Yeah, it felt so invasive.
The cue is totally overstepping,
Definitely, it forced our subject to retreat further into themselves.
which makes the support they get from their family and Quentin even more important.
For sure, they represent a safe space
Yeah.
where they can be vulnerable without judgment.
You know, it's interesting.
It is.
We see our subject struggling internally,
Uh-huh.
but Quentin's experience of America is totally different.
Oh, right. He's seeing everything with fresh eyes.
He's fascinated by it all.
Yeah, the vast landscapes.
The cultural differences.
It's like a reminder that even in the midst of difficulty, there's still beauty to be found.
That juxtaposition is brilliant.
Isn't it?
It really highlights the different perspectives at play here.
Totally.
Our subject consumed by their recovery,
Hmm.
and Quentin experiencing the world with this sense of wonder.
It adds so much depth to the story.
But we can't forget about that recovery grind.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Even in Louisiana, surrounded by loved ones, it's still intense.
Yeah, all the physical
The
therapy,
bandage changes.
the scar massages.
It's a constant reminder that healing takes work.
Yeah, that there are no quick fixes.
And it really speaks to their resilience.
It does.
They're not letting the challenges define them.
No, they're choosing to do the hard work because they know it's what they need to heal.
You know, if you've read the chapter,
Mm.
you know how important Quentin's presence is to their recovery?
Absolutely.
But what's interesting is why it bothers the subject so much.
It's because it highlights their dependence on others at a time when they're craving autonomy.
Right, they want to be independent.
Yeah, to take back their life.
But they're constantly reminded of their limitations.
It's such a frustrating and complex place to be.
And that brings us back to that vow of radical honesty.
Mm.
It's about taking control,
Setting boundaries.
refusing to let others dictate their narrative.
But is it sustainable?
That's a good question.
Won't it get exhausting to always have to explain yourself?
To constantly educate people.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah,
Radical honesty takes a lot of vulnerability and courage,
for sure.
and it's not always easy.
Right.
But it also signals a shift in their mindset.
Oh, how so?
It's about prioritizing their own well-being,
Okay.
even if it means making others uncomfortable.
So it's not just about telling the truth.
No, it's about defining their own terms of engagement with the world.
That's powerful.
It really is.
It makes you think about how we as a society create spaces where people feel safe to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to share their stories, and to receive support without judgment or intrusion.
It really is. That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, how do we cultivate a culture of empathy and understanding,
Right.
especially for people dealing with these kinds of invisible challenges?
It's definitely made me think about how I approach those situations.
Me too.
It's about shifting our perspective.
What do you mean?
Instead of seeing difference as something to fear or pity,
Hmm.
we need to see it as strength, as resilience.
Yeah, everyone's journey is different.
Exactly.
We all deserve compassion and understanding.
This whole conversation makes me think of that quote.
Which one?
Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
We never really know what someone else is going through.
Right, and sometimes a little kindness can make all the difference.
It's not just about being nice, though.
What else is it about then?
It's about really listening,
Mm-hmm.
respecting boundaries, offering support without forcing our own opinions on them.
Yeah, without judgment.
Exactly.
So what does that look like in real life?
Hmm.
How do we show concern without overstepping?
It starts with recognizing that everyone's needs are different.
Okay.
Some people need space and privacy.
Yeah.
Others might want someone to listen or to help.
Right.
It's about paying attention to those cues,
Mm.
asking open-ended questions, and just being present
Being present.
without giving unsolicited advice.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes.
We all are.
But sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is just validate someone's experience.
Absolutely.
To say, I see you, I hear you, and I believe you,
Right.
without trying to fix anything or downplay their pain.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging their strength,
Yeah.
their resilience, their ability to handle things we might not fully understand.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening.
It has.
It's giving us a glimpse into what it's really like to rebuild a life after trauma.
It's messy, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's often really frustrating.
And it's made me admire our subjects' resilience so much
Oh, me too.
and their commitment to being authentic.
Their story is such a powerful reminder that even in the darkest times, we can heal,
Yeah.
we can grow,
And it's a call to action for all of us to be more empathetic,
to be more compassionate in how we interact with each other,
to listen more deeply,
Yeah.
to judge less harshly.
and to offer support that's genuine and empowering.
So to our listeners out there, we leave you with this.
Okay.
How can you bring more empathy and understanding into your own life?
Good question.
How can you be a source of strength and support for the people around you?
Respecting their boundaries,
Yeah.
honoring their unique journeys.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.